Welcome on this no King's Day, no War Day, no genocide, no deadbeat Congress. No, actually, we could go on for the whole night. Actually, there's a lot of things you could say no to, but we should say yes. But actually, this piece is called government. When you think of government, I don't know what you think of, but this is what came up when I was thinking about government. My understanding of government. I have a question. Did it start in fourth grade when I was elected president of the class? I mean, my power as a fourth grade president, was limited. It was more of like a popularity contest, I think. I mean, but is that what the president is? A popularity contest? In eighth grade, in some social studies class, my teacher was crying and yelling at all of us. And she was telling us that the world could end at any moment. That's right. This is the Cuban nuclear missile crisis, you know what I mean? And somebody who might be pulling the trigger. And she was just, going wild and telling us we weren't paying attention. We should realize what's happening in the world. But there was nothing said about how we could actually stop it. I mean, I think maybe prayer was suggested. I'm not sure what the story was. Then I remember sitting in class when someone came in and whispered something to one of my teachers, and she started to cry. And weren't told about why, but on the bus ride home, our bus driver had to pull over because he was crying so much. And when I got home, I noticed that my father's car was there, and I thought, he's never home during the day. And when I went inside, the TV was on, and the president had been shot. I remember being at a family gathering, the TV was on when Oswald was shot, and I heard one of my uncles say, "Well, now we're never going to know the truth." And at that point, I didn't quite understand. I thought, wait a minute, don't they always tell us the truth? I mean, I was told I wasn't supposed to lie. And don't forget, George Washington didn't lie, right? That's what we were told, anyways. And then the assassinations, they just were beginning. There was one assassination after another. And then demonstrating against the war or environmental destruction. And then we had the Chicago Convention beatings, and then Jackson State, Kent State, all these, places where students are killing, and then ICE shooting to kill. Okay, I mean, I guess you try to scare uprisings. You bring out the dogs. We saw the fire hoses. Just killing point blank. On the orders from the government. Who then would send out propaganda that they were anti-government terrorists. That's what they were telling us. Okay. Now the government stepped in with uniforms, actually, so a little black girl could go to school. Yet, those same uniforms beat and killed, folks in her community. The government tried to force me to go to war. Okay, and I didn't even know why. When I asked, it was something about communism. Okay, I noticed that the same guys who were bullying, in high school, they were the ones wearing the uniforms now. You know what I mean? And they were yelling at me at my military induction, which I refused. To sign my life away, for my country, my government, to throw me into the meat grinder of war. Okay. When I refused, I was a traitor. I must be gay. I have psychological problems. I was scum. And the whole thing got reframed, by the way. And they said that, I was unwilling to protect my mother or my grandmother from the enemy, raping and killing them. That's what they accused me of at the trial. I didn't go into the military. I met people who questioned, questioned authority in general and questioned my authority. And we are told so many times, this is good for you. Doctors were telling us smoking was good for us, remember? And then radiation, chemical waste, making things that, we need, but with materials that kill us. The government agencies who were supposed to be out there protecting me, right? They're protecting me by testing, the water, the air, the food, the land. I mean, the government let all that be poisoned, okay? The government let all that get poisoned. Why? Because some cash in the back rooms, okay? And then they lied, okay? They lied. And now as a kid, all those westerns I watched, remember that? And the cavalry came and, to the rescue. The good guys, though, they broke 400 treaties or something like that, you know what I mean? And then all those movies showing slaves singing, you know what I'm saying? Remember that? I mean, I guess no one was really listening to the words. I mean, what was going on there? My government voted just yesterday, or the day before, against the recognizing slavery as a criminal, as a crime, basically against humanity. Okay? And the reason they said they voted against it is because it wasn't a crime. It was legal then. That's what they were saying. Now, my government has started another war. We will obliterate the enemy, we're told, all this rhetoric. And my government has made enemies with everyone all over the world. There's, everybody, and they say, why do they hate us? How do you get a government? That depends where you live, you know what I'm saying? Where I live, I am told we all vote. We're all waiting for this supposedly elections, if they're going to happen, for the government I want. In all of my years of voting, I have never gotten the government that I voted for. I don't know about you. My government is not bringing out the facts about the sexual misconducts, Epstein files, the trafficking of women and girls, the laws keeping women second class citizens, still sex slaves, basically, or sex toys. I mean, this is still going on. Somebody said to me, your government is better than most of the governments around the world. That's right. That's what I've been told my whole life. Now, it seems that everyone in the world is facing governments who protect the wealthy, let other people starve, terrorize them, and throw them into prisons, and force them into fighting wars. When I am asked about government, all I can say is question authority. I mean, could kind of go on for hours. Thanks for tuning in, and that's what we have on this no kings, no war, no genocide, no dead Congress. Again, fill in. There's lots of long lists there, but as they say, keep the faith, the hope, and keep organizing and tune in and, subscribe and like and buy the T-shirts and all that stuff, because how else is the whole thing going to continue on? You know what I'm saying?